More on the Washington side of this story. Let's go live to France 24's chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons. He joins us via Skype. Hello, Rob. The U.S. Defense Department says this operation is a message from the new administration. What do we know about what that message entails exactly?
Well, we just heard Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin refer to attacks which were made earlier this month on U.S. forces inside Iraq, specifically targeting U.S. forces in Erbil, where one soldier was injured, but also a contractor working for the U.S. Was killed and 5 others wounded. It has been assumed that the parties involved, the groups involved, were Kataib Hezbollah and the Guardians of Blood Brigades, 2 Shiite militias that have been quite active in attacking U.S. forces in the past few months in Iraq, including quite recently the Green Zone in Baghdad. So this was the U.S. response specifically to that. And I think it's targeted, it's a message which has several different addresses. One of them, of course, is Iran, because the United States at the moment in negotiations with Iran about its re-entry into the nuclear deal. But the message is, look, we're not prepared to give up anything, to get back into that. We will stick by our guns. Do not think we're going to be a soft touch just because we want you to get back into working normally with us on the nuclear deal. By the same token, this is also a message to a domestic audience as well, saying, look, we aren't going to be a soft touch. Just as Donald Trump said, there are red lines in Iraq, including the killing of U.S. troops or contractors. So Joe Biden is saying exactly the same thing. And it's a message too, I think, for Israel. Look, you may think we're a soft touch, that we're going to give too much ground to the Iranians, but we're not. There are red lines and we're going to stick by them. By attacking these 2 groups, although they haven't claimed responsibility, I think the U.S. administration under Joe Biden is making that abundantly clear. They're calling these a calibrated show of force. 17 people do appear to have been killed. They hit at a border area between Iraq and Syria, which is used by the Iranians as a sort of bridge to the Eastern Mediterranean. So there's no doubt that they've got Iran in mind when they took this action.
Rob, what more can you tell us about the targets here, these Iran-backed militias, and also why the U.S. is concerned with them?
Yeah, well, as I've just been saying, Kataib Hezbollah and the Guardians of Blood Brigade have been carrying out numerous attacks on U.S. positions over the last few months, both under the Donald Trump administration and more recently under the Joe Biden administration. These are not major attacks that have threatened the United States in any way, but clearly the U.S. feels that it has to respond, and it's responding in what it regards as a carefully proportionate, calibrated way to these organizations, which form part of what is known as the Popular Mobilization Unit, the PMUs, which really formed, I think, the backbone of the Iraqi counterattack against the Islamic State in Iraq, and were led and organized by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard General Qasem Soleimani and Abu Mahdi al-Muhandis, an Iraqi militia leader. Both of those men were killed in an assassination strike by the United States in Baghdad just over a year ago. And since then, the Popular Mobilization Units have been seen to fragment to a certain extent. So I think that, in another way, the United States is pressing on the weak points in the mobilization units.
France 24's chief foreign editor, Rob Parsons, thanks so much for helping us understand this story.